Hello, and thank you for choosing Danomics. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how we can filter our data, set our global constraints, and enable the economics. Let's get started. In our previous video, we had uploaded our well header database and production database, and we created a new project. Then we brought that data into this project to populate our well list and our map so we could view production. Now, in this case, we have around 7,000 wells in our production database. It's unlikely that we'll want to work on all 7,000 of these wells at once, and instead we'd rather work on a subset of these wells. So in this case, I'm going to filter by a number of factors, including my cumulative production, gas-oil ratio, lateral length, spud date, and producing formation. To do this, I come to the filters area. This is underneath where we selected our databases. And I'm going to set some basic filters. So I'm going to look at wells that have more than 10,000 barrels of cumulative production. I'm going to look at wells that have a gas-oil ratio between 1,500 and 5,000. Lateral lengths that are longer than 4,500 feet. And that were spud after January 1st, 2010. I also want to filter by the producing formation. Here, I will select the Niobrara formation. If I wish to select other variants of the Niobrara, I can do so by selecting that here in my database. Once I've done this, I can see that I've filtered to around 100 wells. I can then choose to show my production bubbles here in these wells, and if I wish to change my filter range, I can always update these filters. For example, I can remove my lower limit for my gas-oil ratio, and we'll see that it automatically updates the list of wells, my map, and the count of matching wells shown in my database. Okay, now that we have filtered down to a more manageable set of wells, I want to review some of the other options that are available. Here, I'm going to hide away the filters area, and we're going to focus on two areas. The first is on pre-processing, and the second is on some of the global constraints for our decline curve analysis. In the pre-processing, you'll need to choose how you would like to view your time axis, how you would like to set your rates, and how you would like to calculate the number of days per month. For your time axis, you need to choose whether or not you want to look at producing days or your reporting period days. For your rate divisor, once again, you can look at either your reporting period days or the number of reported producing days. And for days per month, you can either use a fixed number of 30.4375, or you can use the number of calendar days in each month. By this, I mean that January will have 31 days, and February will have 28 days, except in leap years where we'll have 29. Typically, these defaults can be left as is unless there is a specific reason to change them. Within our global constraints for our decline curve analysis, we have a number of factors that we can choose from. We have our max QI factor. The maximum QI is determines how the QI for our decline curve will be set. For daily data, this is straightforward. For monthly data, because we're looking at a rate that is often slightly lower than the actual maximum rate achieved, it's just an extrapolation back to 0 time. For our minimum and maximum DIs, this controls the steepness of the decline, our initial first year decline, and typically we set this between some small positive number that's greater than 0, for example 0.01, and some suitably large number, for example 50. These constraints would correspond between a very, very modest decline and a greater than 90% decline for the first year. For our B factor, once again, we can set some constraints here if we would like. You know, once again, this depends on the area that you're working and your company's technical understanding of that area. In this case, I'm going to set it between 0 and 1.5. Once we've done this, there are a number of ways that we can choose how we would like to start the decline with respect to time. We have three options. We have best fit, first decline, and max. Maximum is the most straightforward, where it starts at the maximum observed rate and declines from that point. First decline starts at the first observed decline in the production data and declines from there. Best fit, which is often used for evaluating things like PDP data, tries to start at the earliest point in the production history and then steps forward in time until the best fit is achieved, applying a small penalty function as it moves further and further away from the well production start date. For this example, I'm going to choose max. Okay, and then finally, once we've set our start date method and decline parameters, we have a few other things that we can set. For example, we can set a terminal decline. This will control how the decline will behave late in life. In this case, I'm going to set that at 8%. And we can choose the number of years from our production start date to make our forecast. In this case, I'll set it at 50 years. You'll notice that as we make these changes, it extends out the time on the graph and it marks when terminal decline starts in our well. Okay, and our final step in this video is we want to enable our economics. So to do this, we will come to our statistics window and we'll hover over the link for modules. Doing so shows us a gear icon. We'll click on this icon and we'll select economics. Once we hit OK, this will bring up the module for our economics. We actually have two ways that we can set our economics here. We can set it on a well by well basis, or we can come in and set some global defaults here. For example, we could choose to set our price at $75 a barrel, our gas price at $2, and we could customize the inflation. Now, once we've done that, these changes will then be reflected within our well. We can see the values of $75 and $2 that have been added. If we would like to override this on a well by well basis, and for example, to add a price differential, we can do that. All right, now that we have done that, the economics for this well have been updated. Okay, and that is it for this video. In our next video, I'm going to show you how we can manually override our decline curve analysis, how we can customize the decline curve analysis graph, and how we can build multi-well type curves. Thank you.